My name is Elena Martinez, and I'm 33 years old. 3 months ago, I walked into a divorce courtroom and played a recording that destroyed my husband's life. Not a recording my daughter made, not evidence that fell into my lap by accident, a recording I made myself after 6 weeks of cold, calculated investigation. The judge's face when he heard my husband Derek confessing to fraud, conspiracy, and perjury. That was satisfying. My husband's mistress Gabriella collapsing in handcuffs as her fake psychology license was exposed. Even better, watching Derek led away to 15 years in prison while I walked out with full custody, the house, and every stolen dollar returned with interest. That was justice. But I'm getting ahead of myself. You need to understand how a woman who spent 6 years playing the perfect housewife transformed into the strategist who systematically dismantled her husband's entire conspiracy. How I went from crying on the kitchen floor to becoming the prosecutor, judge, and executioner of my own case. This isn't a story about being saved. This is a story about saving myself. Before the story begins, please drop a comment telling us which state or city you're watching from. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so we can keep bringing you these powerful true stories. 6 months ago, I was living what I thought was a good life in Phoenix. Beautiful home, healthy daughter, successful husband. I'd quit my graphic design career when Sophia was born, and for 6 years, I'd dedicated myself to being the perfect wife and mother. Every morning at 5:30, I was in the kitchen preparing Derek's breakfast. Every evening, the house was spotless, dinner was ready, Sophia was bathed and ready for bed. I thought I was building a family. I didn't realize I was funding my replacement. The first crack appeared on a Tuesday night in March. Derek came home at 11, claiming he'd been at a client dinner. I kissed his cheek, smelled expensive perfume that wasn't mine, and watched him head straight for the guest bedroom without a word. 3 years ago, I would have cried myself to sleep. 2 years ago, I would have confronted him and believed whatever excuse he gave me. 1 year ago, I would have ignored it completely, convinced myself I was being paranoid. But that Tuesday night, something inside me shifted. Maybe it was the way he'd looked at me earlier that week with pure contempt when I asked if he wanted pasta or chicken for dinner. Maybe it was the credit card statement I'd seen showing charges at restaurants I'd never been to. Maybe it was 6 years of feeling invisible, finally reaching a breaking point. I didn't cry. I didn't confront him. I didn't ignore it. Instead, I got out of bed at 2 in the morning, walked quietly to the guest room, and checked Derek's phone while he slept. He'd changed his passcode. He'd never done that before. We'd always known each other's codes. "No secrets between us, baby," he used to say. I stood there in the dark hallway, holding his locked phone, and felt something cold and sharp crystallize in my chest. This wasn't paranoia. This wasn't insecurity. This was real. And I was going to find out exactly how real. The next morning, I woke up at 5:30, as usual, made Derek's breakfast exactly how he liked it, smiled when he walked past me without a word, packed Sophia's lunch with a note telling her how much I loved her, played the role of the perfect, clueless wife. But the moment Derek's car pulled out of the driveway and Sophia's school bus turned the corner, I became someone else entirely. I went to Derek's home office. The door was locked now, another new development, but I knew where he kept the spare key, hidden behind the thermostat. I let myself in and started searching. His filing cabinet was locked. His desk drawers were locked. Everything was locked, which told me everything I needed to know. Innocent people don't lock cabinets in their own home office. I picked the filing cabinet lock with a bobby pin and YouTube tutorial. It took me 45 minutes and 3 broken pins, but I got it open. Inside, I found credit card statements he'd been hiding from me. Thousands of dollars in charges, expensive jewelry I'd never received, flowers I'd never seen, hotel rooms, romantic restaurants, all on a card I didn't know existed. I photographed every single page with my phone, methodically, carefully, making sure every detail was captured clearly. Then I found the bank statements. Our joint account, the one that was supposed to have our savings, showed regular transfers to an account I didn't recognize. 5,000 here, 10,000 there, 20,000, 30,000. I did the math in my head. Over the past 18 months, Derek had moved nearly $90,000 out of our account into this mystery account. My hands weren't shaking, my heart wasn't racing. I felt eerily calm, like I was watching myself from outside my body. This was evidence. This was proof. This was ammunition. I photographed everything, returned the files to exactly where I found them, relocked the cabinet, and put the spare key back behind the thermostat. Derek would never know I'd been there. That afternoon, while Sophia was at dance class, I opened a secret email account Derek knew nothing about. I uploaded all the photos I'd taken. Then I Googled Private investigator, Phoenix, Arizona divorce. The first name that came up was Patricia Walsh, a former police detective who specialized in marital infidelity cases. Her website showed a professional woman in her 50s with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense expression. Her reviews were excellent. I called her number. "Walsh Investigations," she answered, her voice crisp and businesslike. "My name is Elena Martinez," I said, surprised at how steady my voice sounded. "I think my husband is having an affair, and I need proof." There was a pause. "What makes you think he's cheating?" I told her about the perfume, the late nights, the locked phone, the hidden credit card statements, the mysterious bank transfers. "How long has this been going on?" Patricia asked. "I don't know, but I'm done guessing. I want to know everything. Who she is, how long it's been happening, where my money went, all of it." "That's going to be expensive," Patricia warned. "Surveillance, financial forensics, digital investigation, it adds up quickly." "I have $3,000 in cash my mother gave me before she died," I said. "It's hidden where Derek will never find it. Will that cover a retainer?" "It'll get us started," Patricia said. "Can you meet me tomorrow?" "Yes, but not at your office. Derek works downtown. I can't risk him seeing me there." "Smart," Patricia said, and I heard approval in her voice. "There's a coffee shop in Scottsdale, corner of Scottsdale Road and Shea. 9 a.m. tomorrow. Come alone. Bring everything you've photographed." I hung up feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Power, control, purpose. That night, Derek came home at midnight. I was awake, but I pretended to be asleep when he finally came into our bedroom. He smelled like that same perfume, mixed with wine and something else. Another woman's shampoo, maybe. Or her body lotion. He climbed into bed without showering, without saying a word, and fell asleep within minutes. I lay there next to him in the dark, listening to him breathe, and felt absolutely nothing. No love, no hurt, no anger, just cold, calculating determination. "You want to destroy me," I thought. "You want to take my daughter, my home, my life. Let's see who destroys who." The next morning, I met Patricia Walsh at the coffee shop. She was exactly as she appeared on her website, professional, sharp-eyed, no nonsense. She wore a blazer and carried a leather portfolio. We sat in a back corner booth, and I showed her everything I'd photographed. She studied each image carefully, occasionally making notes. When she finished, she looked up at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. "Mrs. Martinez, I'm going to be straight with you. Your husband isn't just having an affair. He's systematically robbing you blind and setting you up to look like the bad guy. See these charges?" She pointed to the hidden credit card statement. "These are all on a supplementary card in your name. If you end up in divorce court, he's going to claim you spent all this money." My stomach dropped. "But I didn't. I've never even seen that card." "I believe you. But proving it will be difficult. That's why we need to document everything. I need you to tell me your husband's routine. Where does he go? When? Who does he meet? Does he have any patterns?" I thought about it. He claims he works late 3 or 4 nights a week, always says it's client dinners or project deadlines. He leaves the house around 7:30 in the morning and usually comes home between 6 and 11, depending on the night. What about weekends? He plays golf every Saturday morning. He says it's networking with clients. He's usually gone from 7 a.m. until 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Patricia made notes. "And your daughter? Does he spend time with her?" "Not really. He'll kiss her forehead in the morning and ask about school, but he doesn't help with homework or bedtime or anything. It's all surface-level interaction. Recently, he started buying her expensive gifts, though. New iPad, designer clothes, toys, things we supposedly couldn't afford before." "He's building a case," Patricia said grimly. "He's positioning himself as the good father who provides while making you look like the negligent parent who can't manage money. This is premeditated, Mrs. Martinez." "Call me Elena," I said. "And I know it's premeditated. That's why I'm here." Patricia smiled slightly. It was the smile of a predator recognizing another predator. "All right, Elena. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put surveillance on your husband starting today. I want to know where he goes, who he sees, how often he meets this woman, whoever she is. I'm also going to run a financial forensic investigation. We'll trace where that money went and document every transaction." "What do I need to do?" I asked. "Keep playing the perfect wife. Don't let him know you suspect anything. Don't change your behavior at all, and document everything in your own life. Keep a journal of your daily routine with Sophia. Save receipts for groceries and household purchases. Take photos of yourself with your daughter doing normal mom things. We're going to build a counter-narrative that destroys whatever story he's planning to tell." "How long will this take?" Could be 2 weeks, could be 2 months. Depends on how careful he's being. But Elena? Patricia looked at me seriously. Once we start this, there's no going back. You need to be absolutely sure you want to know the truth, because once you have proof, you can't unsee it. I'm sure, I said without hesitation. I want to know everything, and then I want to destroy him. Patricia nodded slowly. Then let's get started. Over the next 6 weeks, I lived 2 lives. During the day, I was Elena, the perfect housewife. I woke up early, made breakfast, took care of Sophia, cleaned the house, cooked dinner, smiled at Derek when he bothered to look at me. But underneath that performance, I was documenting everything. I kept a detailed journal, time-stamped and dated. March 15th, 7 wheats a.m. Made Derek breakfast. Scrambled eggs, turkey sausage, whole grain toast. He left without saying thank you or goodbye. 7:30 a.m. Walked Sophia to bus stop, helped her with math flashcards while waiting. 8 a.m. Cleaned kitchen, started laundry. 9:30 a.m. Grocery shopping at Safeway, spent $147.32 on household items and food for the week. Every single day, documented. Every interaction with Sophia, photographed. Every receipt, saved and cataloged. And every few days, Patricia sent me updates that made my blood run cold. Subject met with unidentified female at Pastino Wine Cafe, April 2nd, 6:30 p.m. Physical contact observed holding hands, kissing. Relationship appears established and comfortable, suggesting long-term affair. Attached were photos. Derek and a beautiful blonde woman sitting at an outdoor table laughing. Derek leaning across to kiss her. Derek's hand on her thigh. I stared at those photos for a long time. I waited for the tears, for the heartbreak, for the pain. It never came. I just felt cold, vindicated, proven right. Subject and female entered Kierland Commons luxury apartment building April 5th, 2:15 p.m. Did not emerge for 4 hours. Confirmed. Female is resident of Unit 3B. Registered to Gabriella Simone Garrett. Gabriella Simone Garrett. Now she had a name. Patricia ran a background check. The results came 2 days later. Target, female, Dr. Gabriella Simone Garrett, age 34, licensed clinical psychologist. Operates private practice, Garrett Family Counseling, specializing in child psychology and custody evaluations. Divorced, no children. Currently residing at Kierland Commons, Unit 3B. Rent, $3,800 month. I read that last line 3 times. Rent, $3,800 per month. I pulled up my copies of our bank statements. The transfers Derek had been making to that mystery account, they happened like clockwork on the 1st of every month. $3,800, sometimes more for utilities or expenses. Derek was paying his mistress's rent with our money, with money I'd helped save when I had a career, with money that was supposed to be for Sophia's college fund. And this woman, this Dr. Gabriella Garrett, who specialized in child psychology and custody evaluations, was she just Derek's mistress? Or was there more to this? I called Patricia. I need to know if Gabriella has any connection to Derek beyond the affair. Professional connection. Any overlap with his work or business dealings. What are you thinking, Marie? Patricia asked. I'm thinking that Derek has been talking about divorce for the past year, dropping hints about how I'm too emotional, too unstable, too focused on Sophia. And now I find out his mistress is a child psychologist who does custody evaluations? That's not a coincidence. Patricia was quiet for a moment. You think he's planning to use her as an expert witness? I think he's been planning this for a long time, and I think she's part of it. I'll dig deeper, Patricia said. Give me a week. While Patricia investigated Gabriella, I had my own mission. I needed to get into Derek's phone. I needed to see their messages, their plans, their conversations. I waited until Saturday morning. Derek left for his supposed golf game at 7. But thanks to Patricia's surveillance, I knew Derek didn't play golf anymore. He spent his Saturday mornings at Gabriella's apartment, which meant I had 8 hours alone in the house. I went straight to his home office. I knew he kept an old laptop in his desk drawer, one he used to use for work before he got his newer model. If Derek was like most people, he probably had his email and messages synced across devices. I found the laptop, opened it, and found it wasn't password protected. Arrogance. He never thought I'd look. His email was open, his text messages were backed up on the iCloud web interface, and there, in front of me, was everything. Hundreds of messages between Derek and Gabriella, going back almost 3 years. 3 years. My daughter was only 6. He'd been cheating on me since she was 3 years old. I started reading, and what I found was so much worse than an affair. Baby, the plan is working perfectly. Elena has no idea. I've been moving money into your account slowly enough that she hasn't noticed. By the time I file for divorce, there won't be anything left for her to claim. Are you sure about the custody strategy? What if she fights back? She won't. Elena's too weak, too dependent. She gave up her career. She has no income, no savings of her own. And with your testimony as an expert witness about her emotional instability, the judge will give me full custody, no problem. I still think it's risky. What if your lawyer finds out we're together? He won't. You'll present yourself as an objective third-party psychologist I hired to evaluate the home situation. Your credentials are impeccable. No one will question your professional assessment. And once I have custody of Sophia, we can sell the house, take everything, and start our life together. You, me, and Sophia, the family we should have been from the beginning. I had to stop reading. Not because I was crying, I wasn't, but because my hands were shaking so badly with rage that I could barely control the mouse. They'd been planning this for 3 years. 3 years of conspiracy, 3 years of stealing from me, 3 years of positioning Gabriella to pose as an objective expert who would help Derek steal my daughter. I took screenshots of everything, every message, every email, every detail of their conspiracy. I uploaded it all to my secret email account, then deleted the browsing history and closed the laptop exactly as I'd found it. Then I called Patricia. I have everything, I said when she answered. Messages, emails, financial records. They've been planning this for 3 years. Gabriella isn't just his mistress. She's going to pose as an objective child psychologist in divorce court to help him get custody. That's conspiracy and fraud, Patricia said immediately. Elena, this is bigger than adultery. This is criminal. I know, and I'm going to bury them both. But I need more. I need hard evidence I can use in court. I need recordings. Recordings of what? Of them discussing the plan, of Derek admitting he stole money, of Gabriella admitting she's going to lie in court. I need their voices confessing everything. Patricia was quiet for a long moment. Elena, what you're talking about is dangerous. If Derek catches you, he won't, I said coldly, because I'm smarter than he thinks I am. I've been 3 steps ahead of him for 6 weeks now, and he has no idea. So tell me, how do I get recordings that will hold up in court? Another pause. Then Patricia said, Arizona is a one-party consent state. That means you can legally record any conversation you're a part of without the other person's knowledge. But you can't record conversations you're not present for without a court order. So I need to be there. I need to confront them, get them talking, and record the whole thing. That's incredibly risky. I don't care about risk, I interrupted. I care about winning. So tell me what recording equipment I need and how to use it so the audio is admissible in court. I could hear Patricia take a deep breath. Then she said, All right, but we do this my way. Professional equipment, proper placement, legal protocols. If we're going to take them down, we're going to do it right. 2 days later, I met Patricia at her office for the first time. She handed me a small, voice-activated recording device, no bigger than a USB drive. This is professional grade, she explained. Voice-activated, 8-hour battery life, crystal clear audio. You wear it here. She showed me a specially designed clip that would attach to the inside of my shirt, hidden, but with the microphone pointed outward. When do I use it? I asked. That's up to you. But my advice? Wait until you have Derek alone in a situation where he feels comfortable enough to tell the truth. Maybe after a few drinks, maybe during an argument when his guard is down. Get him talking about the affair, about the money, about his plans for custody. Once he starts confessing, keep him talking. What about Gabriella? Her too, if you can manage it. But Derek is your primary target. He's the one filing for divorce. He's the one who stole from you. Get his confession first, then we'll worry about hers. I took the recording device home and waited for my opportunity. It came 1 week later, on a Friday night. Derek came home at 11, reeking of wine and Gabriella's perfume. He was in a good mood, almost giddy. I was in the kitchen when he walked in. Sophia was asleep upstairs. It was just the two of us. I turned on the recording device hidden under my cardigan. You're home late, I said carefully, keeping my voice neutral. Derek barely looked at me. Client dinner ran long. Don't wait up next time. Derek, I said, can we talk? Please? I feel like we never talk anymore. He sighed heavily, like I was the biggest inconvenience in his life. Talk about what, Elena? About us, about our marriage. I feel like you're pulling away from me, and I don't understand why. Derek poured himself a glass of scotch from the bar cart. Maybe because there's nothing to talk about. We're fine. We're not fine, I pressed. You barely speak to me. You come home late almost every night. You sleep in the guest room. This isn't a marriage. Anymore, Derek. What's going on? He took a long drink, and I saw something shift in his expression. Calculation. Like he was deciding how much to tell me. You want the truth, Elena, he said finally, his voice cold. The truth is I'm tired. I'm tired of coming home to a house that's never good enough, to a wife who has nothing interesting to say, to a life that feels like it's suffocating me. Each word was designed to hurt me. 3 months ago, they would have. Now they were just evidence. Is there someone else? I asked quietly. Derek laughed. Does it matter? Yes, I said. It matters to me. He looked at me then, really looked at me, with an expression of pure contempt. Fine. Yes, there's someone else. Her name is Gabriella, and she's everything you're not. Successful, intelligent, accomplished. She has her own career, her own life. She doesn't need me to define her existence. How long? I asked, keeping my voice steady. 3 years, he said, and I saw satisfaction in his eyes. He wanted to hurt me. 3 years, Elena, almost since Sophia started preschool. And you never thought to tell me. You just kept lying? What was I supposed to say? Derek laughed again. Hey, honey, I met someone better, someone worthy of my time. You would have fallen apart. You can barely handle everyday life. How would you handle the truth? The recording device was capturing every word, every confession, every moment of cruelty. What about Sophia? I asked. What about our daughter? Sophia will be fine, Derek said dismissively. In fact, she'll be better. She'll have a mother who's actually accomplished something with her life, instead of a housewife who gave up on everything. You want custody, I said. Not a question, a statement. Derek smiled. It was not a nice smile. I'm going to get custody. I've been documenting everything, Elena. The messy house, the overspending, your emotional instability. I have experts who will testify that you're not fit to be a primary parent, and I have the resources to provide Sophia with everything she needs. With Gabriella, I said. With Gabriella, he confirmed, who, by the way, is a clinical psychologist specializing in child welfare. Her professional opinion will carry a lot of weight in court. There it was. The confession, the admission of conspiracy. You've been planning this? I said slowly. For how long? Derek finished his scotch and poured another. Long enough. You think I didn't notice you going through my office? You think I don't know you've been snooping? My blood ran cold. He knew, but Derek just laughed. Elena, you're so predictable. Of course I knew. I wanted you to find some of it. I wanted you to see the credit card statements, to feel desperate and cornered. Because when we end up in divorce court and you try to claim I set you up, you'll just sound paranoid and hysterical, which is exactly what Gabriella's testimony will confirm. He thought he was so smart. He thought he'd planned. For everything. He had no idea I'd been recording every word. So what happens now? I asked. Derek set down his glass and looked at me with dead eyes. Now? Now you wait. In a few weeks, maybe a month, you'll receive divorce papers. And when you do, I suggest you sign them and walk away quietly. Because if you fight me on this, Elena, I will destroy you. I'll take Sophia, the house, everything. You'll be left with nothing. And if I don't walk away quietly, then I'll make sure everyone knows what a failure you are, what a terrible mother, what an unstable, paranoid, mentally ill woman who can't even take care of herself, let alone a child. I looked at my husband, the man I'd loved, the man I'd sacrificed everything for, and felt nothing but cold satisfaction. Okay, I said quietly. I understand. Derek looked surprised. You're not going to cry? Not going to beg me to stay? Would it make a difference? No, he said simply. It wouldn't. Then there's no point, I said. If you want to divorce Derek, then we'll divorce. I walked out of the kitchen, went upstairs to check on Sophia, and then went to the guest bedroom where I'd been sleeping for the past few weeks. I carefully removed the recording device, plugged it into my laptop, and listened to the entire conversation. Every word was crystal clear. Every confession documented. Every admission of conspiracy and fraud preserved forever. I copied the file to 3 separate locations, my laptop, a USB drive, and the cloud. Then I emailed Patricia Walsh. I have the recording, all of it. He confessed to everything. What's our next move? She responded within minutes. Meet me tomorrow, 10 a.m., my office. Bring the recording. We're going to build the case that destroys him. I slept better that night than I had in months. because I knew something Derek didn't. He thought he was the hunter, but he'd been the prey all along, and tomorrow, I was going to start setting the traps that would bring him down. The next morning, I sat in Patricia Walsh's office with my laptop, the recording device, and 6 weeks' worth of documented evidence spread across her conference table. Patricia listened to the entire recording without interruption. When it finished, she sat back in her chair and let out a low whistle. Elena, this is a prosecutor's dream. He confessed to adultery, conspiracy to commit fraud, intent to use falsified expert testimony, and systematic financial theft. On tape, in his own words, with crystal clear audio. Is it enough? I asked. It's more than enough for the divorce, but I think we can do better. I think we can get him criminally charged. I leaned forward. Tell me how. Patricia pulled out a legal pad and started writing. Here's what we have. 1. Financial fraud. Derek moved nearly $90,000 into an account controlled by his mistress. That's marital asset dissipation and possibly theft. 2. Conspiracy to commit perjury. Gabriella is planning to pose as an objective expert witness when she's actually his accomplice. That's a felony. 3. Identity fraud on the credit cards. He used your name to make purchases and frame you. Another felony. So we go to the police? I asked. Not yet. If we go to the police now, they'll arrest him, and he'll get a lawyer who'll tie everything up in criminal proceedings for years. Your divorce will get delayed, custody will be in limbo, and Sophia will suffer. We need to be smarter than that. What do you suggest? Patricia smiled that predator smile again. We let Derek file for divorce exactly as he planned. We let him walk into court confident that he has the winning case. We let Gabriella take the stand as his expert witness. And then we destroy both of them in front of the judge, on the record, with evidence so overwhelming that the criminal charges are inevitable. I felt my own smile forming, cold and sharp. You want to use the courtroom as the trap. Exactly. Think about it, Elena. Derek expects you to come in crying, desperate, with nothing but your word against his documentation. He expects Gabriella's testimony to be believed. He expects to walk out with custody and everything else. What he doesn't expect is for you to have 6 weeks of professional surveillance, financial forensics, his own confession on tape, and proof of conspiracy. When do we spring the trap? At the exact right moment. We let Derek's lawyer present his case first. Let them show the photos, the credit card statements, let Gabriella give her fake testimony. Let them think they're winning. And then when the judge asks for your response, we present everything. The surveillance photos showing Derek and Gabriella together, the financial records showing he paid her rent with marital assets, the messages proving they've been planning this for 3 years, and finally Derek's own recorded confession. What about Sophia? I asked. Derek told me he's been documenting things to make me look bad. What if he has evidence I don't know about? That's why we're going to spend the next week building your counter-narrative. I want you to think about everything Derek might use against you, every photo he might have taken, every incident he might twist, and we're going to have an explanation for all of it. I thought about the photos Derek mentioned. He said he documented a messy house. He probably took pictures when I had the flu in February. I was in bed for 5 days with a fever of 103. I couldn't clean, and Derek refused to help. Do you have medical records from that illness? I went to urgent care on day 3 when my fever spiked. They tested me for flu and strep. I should have records. Get them. That explains the messy house. What else? He might have photos of me crying or upset. He said cruel things to me deliberately over the past year, things designed to make me break down so he could photograph it. When was the most recent incident? I thought back. About 3 weeks ago. He told me I was a terrible mother and that Sophia would be better off without me. I cried. He might have photographed it. Patricia made notes. We'll address that as emotional abuse, a normal response to sustained psychological manipulation. What about your relationship with Sophia? Has Derek interfered with that? He's been buying her expensive gifts recently, trying to make himself look like the generous parent while I supposedly can't provide anything. But I document everything I do with Sophia. I have photos, receipts, a daily journal. She's my whole world. Good. We're going to show that. Now here's what I need you to do over the next 2 weeks. First, get those medical records from your flu. Second, continue documenting everything with Sophia. Third, I want you to talk to Sophia about what's happening, age appropriately, and see if she's noticed anything about her father's behavior. I hesitated. I don't want to involve Sophia in this. She's only 6. I'm not suggesting you involve her in the legal case. But Elena, If Derek has been manipulating her, telling her you're sick or unstable or can't take care of her, she needs to know the truth. And if she's witnessed anything between Derek and Gabriella, that's relevant. I thought about it. Sophia was perceptive. She saw everything. Okay, I'll talk to her. And one more thing, Patricia said. I want you to see a therapist. Start sessions immediately. Why? Because Derek is going to claim you're mentally unstable. The best defense against that is professional documentation showing you're actively managing your mental health, you're rational, you're capable, and you're a fit parent. Find a good therapist, be honest about the stress you're under, and get their professional assessment in writing. I nodded. I can do that. Good. Now let's talk about your divorce attorney. You're going to need someone who specializes in high conflict custody cases and isn't afraid to fight dirty when necessary. I have a recommendation. She handed me a business card. Marcus Thompson, family law attorney. Marcus is excellent. He's handled dozens of cases involving parental alienation, financial fraud, and custody manipulation. He's not cheap, but he's worth every penny. Tell him I sent you and show him everything we have. He'll know what to do with it. I looked at the card. I have the $3,000 I gave you. After that, I'm broke. Derek controls everything. Marcus will work with you on payment. And Elena? Once we expose Derek's financial theft in court, you'll get every penny back plus damages. This is an investment in your future. I met with Marcus Thompson 2 days later. His office was impressive, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown Phoenix, expensive artwork on the walls, leather furniture. He was in his late 40s, black, with sharp eyes and an air of quiet confidence. I spent 2 hours telling him everything and showing him all the evidence, the photos, the messages, the financial records, the recording. When I finished, Marcus sat back in his chair and studied me carefully. Mrs. Martinez, I'm going to be direct with you. This is one of the most clear-cut cases of marital conspiracy I've ever seen. Your husband and his mistress have committed multiple felonies. The evidence you've gathered is extraordinary. But I need to know, are you prepared for how ugly this is going to get? I'm prepared, I said. I want him destroyed. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Not just divorced. Destroyed. He tried to take my daughter from me using lies and fraud. He stole $90,000. He's been planning this for 3 years while I trusted him completely. So yes, I want him destroyed. Legally, financially, professionally, I want him to face every consequence possible. Marcus smiled slightly. Then we're going to get along very well. Here's how this is going to work. Derek will file for divorce soon, probably within the next few weeks based on the timeline in his messages. When he does, we're going to respond calmly and professionally. We'll ask for joint custody, fair asset division, standard stuff. We won't show our hand at all. We'll let him think I'm scared and weak, I said. Exactly. We'll even attend mediation, where his lawyer will probably offer you a terrible deal. Take nothing, give up custody, go away quietly. You'll appear to consider it, you'll look desperate, and then we'll refuse, forcing the case to trial. And that's when we expose everything. Not immediately. First, we let them present their case. Let Derek's lawyer paint you as unstable, irresponsible, unfit. Let Gabriella take the stand as his expert witness and give her false testimony. Let them feel confident. And then, during cross-examination and our own case presentation, we systematically dismantle every lie with evidence so overwhelming that the judge has no choice but to rule in your favor. What about criminal charges? I asked. The moment we present evidence of conspiracy and fraud in open court, the judge will be legally obligated to report it to the authorities. Derek and Gabriella will be arrested on the spot. They won't even see it coming. And Sophia? We're going to protect Sophia through all of this. She's the priority. I want to talk to her gently and appropriately to understand what she's observed. If she's witnessed anything relevant, her testimony could be valuable, but only if she's comfortable with it. I agreed. That evening, after Derek left for another late night with Gabriella, I sat down with Sophia in her bedroom. Baby girl, I said gently, I need to talk to you about something important. Mommy and Daddy are having some grown-up problems. Sophia's face fell. Are you getting divorced? Smart girl. She'd already figured it out. Maybe. I don't know yet. But I need to ask you some questions, and I need you to tell me the truth, okay? You won't get in trouble no matter what you say. Okay, Mommy. Has Daddy ever talked to you about me, about whether Mommy is sick or can't take care of you? Sophia nodded slowly. He said you're sad a lot, and that you need to rest. He said maybe I should live with him so you can get better. My heart broke, but I kept my voice calm. Mommy's not sick, sweetheart. Mommy's just sad because Daddy and I aren't getting along, but I will always be able to take care of you. You know that, right? I know, Mommy. You take care of me every day. Has Daddy ever introduced you to a lady friend? Someone named Gabriella? Sophia's eyes widened. Miss Gabriella! She's Daddy's friend. She's really pretty. Daddy took me to meet her a few times. She has a nice apartment with a big TV. So Derek had been introducing Sophia to his mistress, normalizing her presence, building the replacement family. What do you think of Miss Gabriella? I asked carefully. Sophia shrugged. She's nice, I guess. But she's not you, Mommy. She doesn't know how to make my favorite pancakes, and she doesn't read me bedtime stories, right? I hugged Sophia tight. Baby, I need to tell you something. Mommy and Daddy might have to go to court to talk to a judge about where you're going to live. If that happens, the judge might want to ask you some questions. You don't have to answer anything you don't want to, but if you do answer, you just tell the truth about what you've seen and heard. Can you do that? Will Daddy be mad at me? Daddy might be upset, but that's not your fault. None of this is your fault, Sophia. This is about grown-up problems, not about you. You're the best thing that ever happened to me, and no matter what happens, I love you more than anything in the world. I love you too, Mommy, Sophia whispered. If this story's making your blood boil like mine was, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss what happens next. Trust me, the revenge gets so much better. Your support means everything to this channel. 2 weeks later, I received the divorce papers by courier. I opened the envelope and read through Derek's petition, and it was exactly as vicious as I'd expected. He accused me of being an unfit mother, of neglecting the household, of reckless spending, of emotional instability. He demanded full custody of Sophia. He demanded the house. He demanded all marital assets. He wanted to leave me with nothing. His petition included exhibits: the photos of my messy house during my flu, credit card statements with my name showing thousands in luxury purchases I'd never made. And most damning, a sworn affidavit from Dr. Gabriella Simone Garrett, child psychologist, stating that she had conducted professional observations of me and Sophia and concluded that I displayed concerning patterns of emotional dysregulation and inadequate parenting. I read that affidavit 3 times. Gabriella had already signed a sworn statement full of lies. She'd perjured herself in writing before we'd even gotten to court. Perfect. More evidence. I called Marcus Thompson. I received the petition. Everything's as expected. Good. I'll file our response tomorrow. Remember, we're playing this calm and reasonable. We'll ask for joint custody and equitable distribution. We'll express confusion about his claims. We'll appear cooperative. And the mediation? We'll attend. We'll listen to their terrible offer. You'll look desperate and scared. And then we'll refuse and force them to trial. I've already requested a trial date. Based on court schedules, we're looking at approximately 8 weeks. 8 weeks. I could do 8 weeks. The mediation was exactly as Marcus predicted. We sat in a small conference room at the courthouse. Me, Marcus, Derek, and Derek's attorney, a slick man named Robert Williams, who had a reputation for aggressive tactics. Williams opened with Derek's offer. Mrs. Martinez, my client is willing to be generous. If you agree to give him full custody of Sophia with supervised visitation for you 2 hours every other Sunday, he won't pursue claims for spousal support from you to help cover the child's expenses. I almost laughed. Spousal support from me? I had no income. And the assets? Marcus asked calmly. Mr. Martinez will retain the marital home, the vehicles, and the savings. Mrs. Martinez can leave with her personal belongings and some furniture. Given that she hasn't contributed financially to the marriage, this is more than fair. Marcus looked at me. I played my part perfectly. I let my lip tremble. I let my eyes fill with tears. I just want to be able to see my daughter. I just want... Elena, Marcus said gently, can I have a moment with you? We stepped into the hallway. As soon as the door closed, I dropped the act. They really think I'll take that deal, I said. They're counting on you being desperate. They think you have no options, which is exactly what we want them to think. We went back into the conference room. Marcus delivered our response. My client appreciates the offer, but we respectfully decline. Mrs. Martinez has been Sophia's primary caregiver for 6 years. She's entitled to joint custody at minimum and to her fair share of marital assets. We'll see you at trial. Williams looked annoyed. Derek looked confident. He actually smiled at me, a condescending smile that said, You're going to regret this. I smiled back, a cold, knowing smile. Derek's expression faltered slightly, but then he looked away. The next 6 weeks were a blur of preparation. Marcus and Patricia worked together to organize all the evidence. We had everything neatly indexed, cross-referenced, and ready to present. I continued my therapy sessions. Dr. Sarah Chen, my therapist, was excellent. After 4 sessions, she wrote a professional assessment stating that I showed no signs of emotional instability, that I was experiencing normal stress reactions to marital breakdown, and that I demonstrated strong parenting capabilities and maternal attachment. I continued documenting my daily life with Sophia. Photos of us baking together, reading together, doing homework together, receipts showing I spent money responsibly on groceries, clothes for Sophia, school supplies, a journal showing consistent, engaged parenting. And I waited. The trial began on a Tuesday morning in October. The courtroom was cold and intimidating, with high ceilings and dark wood everywhere. The judge, a stern-looking man named Judge Raymond Collins, took his seat on the bench. Derek sat with his lawyer, looking confident and professional in an expensive suit. I sat with Marcus, wearing a simple navy dress, looking like exactly what I was supposed to be, a nervous, scared mother fighting for her child. Williams delivered his opening statement. Your Honor, this case is straightforward. Mr. Martinez is a successful professional who works hard to support his family. Mrs. Martinez, despite not working outside the home, has failed to maintain even basic household standards and has demonstrated patterns of emotional instability that put the child's well-being at risk. We have photographic evidence, financial evidence, and expert psychological testimony that supports full custody for Mr. Martinez. Marcus delivered our opening. Your Honor, Mrs. Martinez has dedicated 6 years to being a full-time mother to Sophia. She sacrificed her career, her independence, and her financial security for her family. The evidence will show that Mr. Martinez's claims are not only false, but deliberately fabricated as part of a conspiracy to deny Mrs. Martinez her rights as a parent and her share of marital assets. Williams began presenting Derek's case. He showed the photos of my messy house, explaining how they demonstrated neglect. He showed the credit card statements, claiming I'd spent recklessly. He presented Derek's testimony about my emotional outbursts and instability. Derek took the stand and lied smoothly. Your Honor, I love my wife, but I'm deeply concerned about her mental state. She's become increasingly unstable over the past year. Crying fits, angry outbursts, inability to manage household responsibilities. I've tried to help her, but she refuses. I'm worried about Sophia's safety and her care. Marcus cross-examined him gently, asking simple questions about his work schedule, his involvement with Sophia, basic facts. Nothing aggressive, nothing that showed our hand. Then came Dr. Gabriella Simone Garrett. She walked into the courtroom looking every bit the professional psychologist. Tailored suit, perfect hair, calm and confident demeanor. She took the oath and sat in the witness box. Williams began his questioning. Dr. Garrett, can you explain your qualifications? I have a PhD in clinical psychology from Stanford. I've been licensed for 14 years and specialize in child development and custody evaluations. I've served as an expert witness in family court numerous times. And did you conduct an evaluation of Mrs. Martinez and her daughter Sophia? Yes, I conducted observations over a 4-month period in various settings. I observed concerning patterns in Mrs. Martinez's parenting, emotional volatility, inattention to the child's needs, inappropriate emotional responses to minor incidents. She went on to detail her fake observations. Every word was a lie, and she delivered it all with professional confidence. Marcus didn't cross-examine her aggressively. He just asked a few simple questions. Dr. Garrett, you were compensated for your services by Mr. Martinez, correct? Yes, that's standard practice for expert witnesses. And how much were you paid? $5,000 for my evaluation and testimony. Marcus nodded, as if that explained everything, but didn't press further. Gabriella looked relieved. Williams rested his case. Derek looked satisfied. Gabriella sat in the gallery, confident. They thought they'd won. Then Marcus stood up. Your Honor, the defense calls Patricia Walsh. Patricia took the stand, introduced herself as a licensed private investigator, and provided her credentials. Marcus asked, Ms. Walsh, did Mrs. Martinez retain your services? Yes, approximately 8 weeks ago, Mrs. Martinez hired me to investigate her husband's activities. And what did you find? Patricia opened a folder. I conducted surveillance on Mr. Derek Martinez over a 6-week period. During that time, I observed Mr. Martinez meeting regularly with Dr. Gabriella Garrett at various locations, including restaurants, her apartment, and hotels. I documented at least 15 meetings involving physical intimacy. Williams jumped up. Objection, this is character assassination. My client's personal life is not relevant. It's absolutely relevant, Your Honor, Marcus said calmly. Dr. Garrett presented herself as an objective expert witness. If she's actually Mr. Martinez's romantic partner, her testimony is fraudulent. Judge Collins leaned forward. I'll allow it. Continue. Marcus presented photos. Derek and Gabriella kissing at a restaurant, entering her apartment building together, holding hands at a park, date stamped and documented. The courtroom erupted in whispers. Derek's face went white. Gabriella looked like she might be sick. But Marcus wasn't done. Ms. Walsh, did your investigation uncover anything else? Yes, I conducted a financial forensic investigation of the Martinez family accounts. I discovered that over the past 18 months, Mr. Martinez transferred approximately $87,000 from the marital account to an account held by Dr. Gabriella Garrett. These transfers corresponded to her monthly rent and living expenses. Marcus presented bank statements, transfer records, everything documented and highlighted. Mr. Martinez used marital assets to support his mistress while claiming his wife was financially irresponsible. Furthermore, Dr. Garrett is the direct financial beneficiary of Mr. Martinez gaining full custody and control of marital assets. Her testimony is not objective, it's self-serving. Judge Collins was no longer leaning back casually. He was sitting forward, his expression serious. Ms. Walsh, do you have evidence that Dr. Garrett's psychological evaluation was falsified? Patricia smiled. Yes, Your Honor. I have text messages and emails between Mr. Martinez and Dr. Garrett discussing how to fabricate her observations to make Mrs. Martinez appear unfit. Marcus entered the messages into evidence. The entire conspiracy, laid out in black and white. Derek coaching Gabriella on what to say. Gabriella asking Derek for details to make her lies more convincing. Both of them laughing about how Elena would never figure it out. Derek was standing now shouting, "This is a setup! Those messages are fake! You can't—" Mr. Martinez, sit down and be quiet or I'll hold you in contempt, Judge Collins said sharply. Gabriella had tears running down her face, her professional mask completely shattered, but Marcus still wasn't done. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence. With the court's permission, I'd like to play an audio recording. Judge Collins nodded. Proceed. Marcus connected his laptop to the courtroom's sound system, and then Derek's voice filled the room. Fine. Yes. There's someone else. Her name is Gabriella, and she's everything you're not. The entire confession played. Derek admitting to the 3-year affair. Derek explaining his plan to steal custody, using Gabriella's false testimony. Derek bragging about moving money into Gabriella's account. Derek describing how he'd manipulated photos and credit card statements to frame me. Every word crystal clear and undeniable. When the recording ended, the courtroom was silent. Judge Collins looked at Derek and Gabriella with an expression of pure disgust. Bailiff, the judge said, his voice cold. Detain Mr. Martinez and Dr. Garrett. They are not to leave this courtroom. Derek tried to run. He actually tried to run. But 2 bailiffs grabbed him and forced him into his chair. Gabriella was crying hysterically. He made me do it. He said it was the only way. He promised he'd marry me. I didn't want to lie. You did lie, Judge Collins said, under oath, in a sworn affidavit and in testimony before this court. He turned to Williams. Mr. Williams, did you have any knowledge of this conspiracy? Williams, pale and shaking, stammered, No, Your Honor. I swear I had no idea. My client assured me all evidence was legitimate. I'm referring your conduct to the state bar for investigation. You should have done your due diligence on your expert witness. Then Judge Collins looked at me. Mrs. Martinez, I owe you an apology. This court was nearly deceived into committing a grave injustice. I nodded, unable to speak. Tears were running down my face, but they were tears of relief and vindication. Judge Collins picked up his gavel. This court makes the following rulings. 1. Mrs. Elena Martinez is granted full and sole custody of Sophia Martinez, effective immediately. Bang. 2. Mr. Martinez's petition for divorce is dismissed with prejudice. However, Mrs. Martinez is granted leave to file her own petition, which I will fast-track. Bang. 3. All marital assets are frozen pending full forensic accounting. Every dollar transferred to Dr. Garrett will be recovered and returned to Mrs. Martinez, plus punitive damages. Bang. 4. The marital home is awarded to Mrs. Martinez. Bang. 5. Based on the evidence presented here today, I am ordering the immediate arrest of Mr. Derek Martinez and Dr. Gabriella Garrett on charges of conspiracy to commit fraud, perjury, witness tampering, and theft. Bailiffs, take them into custody. Bang! Derek was shouting, thrashing as they handcuffed him. This isn't over. I'll appeal. You can't do this. Gabriella was sobbing. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please, I didn't mean. But no one was listening. They were led out of the courtroom in handcuffs, and I watched them go with cold satisfaction. Marcus put his hand on my shoulder. You did it, Elena. You won. Completely. I nodded, wiping my tears. I know. That was 3 months ago. Since then, my life has transformed completely. Derek was sentenced to 15 years in prison for fraud, perjury, and conspiracy. Gabriella got 12 years, and her psychology license was permanently revoked. Williams was disbarred. The forensic accounting recovered every stolen dollar, $87,000 plus $50,000 in punitive damages and legal fees Derek had to pay. I have more money in my account now than I've had in years. I kept the house. Derek's name is off the deed. It's mine. I restarted my graphic design business. Within 2 months, I had 3 steady clients. Within 3 months, I was making more than I ever did before I quit. I'm independent, I'm successful, I'm thriving. But the best part? Sophia. My daughter knows her mother fought for her. She knows I was smart enough, strong enough, brave enough to protect us both. She's happy, confident, excelling in school. She doesn't ask about Derek anymore. We have a new routine now. Every Saturday, Sophia and I go to our favorite park. We sit on a bench, share ice cream, and talk about everything and anything. Last Saturday, Sophia looked up at me with those wise 6-year-old eyes and said, Mommy, you're a superhero. I laughed. Why do you say that, baby? Because you saved us. You fought the bad guys, and you won. That's what superheroes do. I hugged her tight. You know what, Sophia? You're right. But I'm not the only superhero in this family. You helped too. You told the truth. You were brave. We saved each other. Will Daddy ever come back? She asked. No, baby. Daddy made bad choices, and now he has to face consequences. But that means we get to be free. We get to be happy. We get to build a new life. I like our new life, Sophia said simply. Me too, baby girl. Me too. My name is Elena Martinez. I'm 33 years old. I'm a survivor. I'm a business owner. I'm a mother. And I'm a woman who learned that sometimes the best revenge isn't emotional. It's calculated, strategic, and absolutely devastating. My husband thought he was the hunter. He thought he'd planned everything perfectly. He thought I was too weak, too stupid, too broken to fight back. He was wrong about everything. Thank you for staying until the end. If this story gave you the justice you needed to see, check out the other videos on screen. They're just as satisfying. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? See you in the next story.